This is Cactus 1549. We're going to be in the Hudson. 3.5 minutes. That's all the time two pilots had between a routine winter afternoon over New York and the moment they put a 70-ton airliner down on a freezing river. No engines, no runway, no second chance. And yet, every single one of the 155 people on board walked away alive. This is exactly how it happened, second by second. January 15th, 2009. A cold, clear afternoon at New York's LaGuardia Airport. US Airways Flight 1549 is a short hop. LaGuardia to Charlotte, North Carolina, then onward to Seattle. On board, 150 passengers and 5 crew, business travelers, families, people simply heading home. The aircraft is an Airbus A320, a modern twin-engine jet, only a few months out of a heavy maintenance check. Nothing unusual, nothing wrong. In the left seat, Captain Chesley Sullenberger. Sully, a 57-year-old former Air Force fighter pilot with nearly 20,000 hours of flight time and a side career studying aviation safety. In the right seat, First Officer Jeffrey Skiles, an experienced pilot flying this exact aircraft type for the first time after retraining. At 3:25 in the afternoon, Flight 1549 rolls down runway 4 at LaGuardia and lifts into the sky over Queens. The climb is smooth. For about 90 seconds, this is the most ordinary flight in the world. It will not stay ordinary. At about 2,800 feet, climbing northwest, the crew sees them. A line of large birds directly ahead. Canada geese. Big, heavy birds. Filling the windscreen. There is no time to turn. The geese strike the aircraft and are pulled into both engines at once. The cockpit fills with a series of loud thumps, the smell of burning, and then silence. Both engines have lost thrust, almost completely, at the same time. This is the nightmare scenario every pilot trains for and almost never faces. A twin-engine jet, low and slow, over one of the most densely populated cities on Earth, suddenly turned into a 70-ton glider. Sully takes the controls. "My aircraft," he says. Skiles answers, "Your aircraft," and immediately begins running the engine restart checklist, fighting to bring even one engine back to life. And in these first seconds, Sully makes a quiet decision that may have saved everyone. He starts the aircraft's auxiliary power unit, a small backup generator. It isn't on the standard checklist for this point, but it keeps the jet's electrical systems and flight control protections alive. Without it, the next 3 minutes get far, far harder. From the bird strike to touchdown, the crew has roughly 208 seconds, less than 3.5 minutes to make every decision right. Sully radios air traffic control. The controller, Patrick Harton, immediately offers him a runway back at LaGuardia. Sully runs the math in his head. Altitude, speed, distance, sink rate. It doesn't add up. They are too low, too slow, and falling too fast to make it back. Harton offers another option. Taterboro, a smaller airport in New Jersey, just off to the left. For a moment, it's a candidate. But Sully knows turning toward it would burn altitude and speed he simply doesn't have. He will not gamble 155 lives on a maybe. There is one place long enough, flat enough, and clear of buildings. It isn't a runway. It's the Hudson River. Sully keys the radio and says the words that will be replayed for years. "We're gonna be in the Hudson." In the cabin, Sully makes a single, calm announcement to the passengers. "Brace for impact." The 3 flight attendants, Donna, Doreen, and Sheila, begin shouting the brace commands in unison, over and over, drilling the passengers in the only seconds they have to prepare. Landing a passenger jet on water is one of the hardest maneuvers in aviation. Too steep, and the nose digs in, and the aircraft breaks apart. Wings uneven, and it cartwheels. Sully has to hold it perfectly. Wings dead level, nose up just enough, descent rate controlled, and do it all by feel, with no engines, on the first and only try. Inside the cabin, passengers grip the seats in front of them, heads down, bracing as the water rushes up to meet them. Some pray, some reach for the hand of the stranger beside them. Through the windows, the Manhattan skyline slides past, impossibly close, as the gray river fills the view. There are no engines now, only the rush of air over the wings and the steady, repeated voices of the flight attendants counting them down. For everyone on board, these are the longest seconds of their lives. At 3:31 p.m., Flight 1549 touches the Hudson. The impact is violent, but survivable. The aircraft slows, settles, and floats. The fuselage holds. The wings are intact. The cabin is filling with cold water at the rear, but the airplane is in one piece. For a heartbeat, there is silence again. Then, the doors open. Passengers pour out onto the wings, standing on the surface of the river in near-freezing January air. The water temperature is just a few degrees above freezing, survivable for only minutes, but help is already moving. Commuter ferries on the Hudson see the jet come down and turn toward it within minutes. Crews throw lines and haul passengers aboard. Police and rescue divers follow. Captain Sullenberger walks the length of the flooding cabin twice, checking that no one is left behind, before he steps off the aircraft last. Every person on board survives. The most serious injury is a single broken leg, from bird strike to rescue, in the heart of New York City. Not one life lost. When investigators later recreated the flight in simulators, they tested whether the crew could have made it back to a runway. The answer was sobering. A return was only ever possible if the pilots turned back instantly, with no time to even diagnose the problem. In the real world, with real human reaction time, Sully's decision to ditch in the river was the right one. It was the choice that worked. The investigation pointed to lessons that reshaped aviation safety. It confirmed the value of crew resource management. Two pilots dividing the workload calmly under unthinkable pressure, one flying, one running checklists. It drove improvements in how engines are tested against bird strikes, and renewed focus on managing the bird hazard around airports. And it strengthened training for the scenario everyone hopes never happens: a total loss of power with no runway in reach. The miracle on the Hudson wasn't really a miracle. It was preparation meeting decision, 2 pilots, 3 flight attendants, and a city full of rescuers, each doing exactly the right thing in the few minutes that mattered. That's why, 16 years later, we still talk about Flight 1549. Not because of how close it came to tragedy, but because of how completely it was avoided. If you'd like more breakdowns like this, the moments where aviation and the sea tested people to their limit, and what we learned from them, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.